Hey everyone, thanks for joining today. This is the TPO Go podcast, episode 1. And today we're going to be discussing the benefits of VA refinancing. This episode is called My Name is Earl. You'll soon find out why. And let me introduce some of our guests today. We have TPO Go President Phil DeFranzo, TPO Go Vice President Trey Van de Bogart, Sales Coordinator Dawn Paulo, and Marketing Specialist Madison Tracy. So thanks for joining us. We're going to kind of keep this a little bit light, but yet informative. And so to kick off, I'm going to give some backgrounds. I'll give my own background and little fun fact, and we'll introduce the others and then get into the content. So my background is it's Orwellian. So George Orwell, 1984 is the year that I actually entered the mortgage business. So yes, Father Time has some competition. But I've been in the business since that time in just about every position imaginable. And so most recently, the last 2+ years now with TPO Go. So TPO Go is a national lender. We're not licensed in every state, but I think we're 45 now, give or take. And mainly we're a wholesale lender, non-delegated correspondent, offering conventional government, some HFA, Housing Finance Authority loans in certain states. And a big portion of our business is renovation and rehab loans. We do a substantial amount of that business. But today we're going to focus on VA interest rate reduction loans. And that's why we titled the presentation, My Name is Earl. So I've asked everybody to provide a fun fact. So fun fact for me, it's actually a couple of, I guess the legit fun fact is I'm a novice cryptocurrency investor. So don't ask me for any recommendations because it would be a version of Dumb and Dumber. But I do enjoy it. I see it as a emerging technology that I think will impact everyone, in the next half dozen to 10 years. So that's a fun fact, I guess. My superpower, however, is telling really bad dad jokes. So, as that goes, I just want to say it takes guts to be an organ donor. People are shocked when they learn I'm not a very good electrician. This one will be for Dawn. I tried to eat a waffle on a beach in Southern California. It was San Diego. Okay, so there's my fun fact and my superpower. So let's introduce our guest today. So Phil DeFranzo is president of TPO Go. Thank you for joining us, Phil. And we're going to have Phil share his background, when he entered the business, how long has both Norcom and now TPO Go been established, and a fun fact, if you don't mind.
Yeah. Let's see. I got into the business in, I believe, 1988, so I'm much younger than Don. I established Norcom initially as a mortgage broker in 1990. As the folklore goes, I worked in a one-room office with my mom as my processor, who I didn't have any money to pay her, so she volunteered for the first year. And then, we ultimately grew from there. We were a broker. We had 5 or 6 originators. We hired an underwriter. We, did the standard, got a warehouse line, did non-delegated correspondence. So I know all parts of what it is to be a broker. Was broker for a lot of years. What it is to be a non-delegated correspondent, and ultimately we got our approvals to do Fannie, Freddie, and Ginnie. So I hope that, as a team or me individually that I bring to the table that experience of what it is to be a mortgage broker. And I think I'm super sensitive to that, or we try to be sensitive to that. As far as a fun fact, I I sang in a competition in high school on a national level, and I won. So it was
Wow.
in Baltimore, Maryland. It was called Cantat, and I sang an Italian aria, believe it or
Wow.
not.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well,
that's my
maybe
little
I'll,
fun fact for. But I love the business. I think that there's a great opportunity. We're for us because we're licensed in 45 states. We are we're continuing to try to look for talent to grow. Um, but it's got to be it's got to be the right fit and a special person because of the demand that we have as a company, the partnership we have with all of the people internally, to make sure that they provide the same level of quality of service that everybody else here does. And you know, that's basically our long term. We want to grow. We want to grow intelligently and slowly and methodically, and that's basically what we're looking to do.
yeah, excellent. Excellent. Maybe we could, sample some of that aria,
I will.
this
Yeah,
summer. Sure.
next
Next,
next
next
feel
big
like
month.
company
today-
outing, I'll
I
break
feel
out
like
in an
today's-
Italian aria.
That's awesome.
I feel like
Um,
today's a great day for that. I'm just throwing it.
So you mentioned Norcom as a company you established,
Mhm.
not 25 years ago or so,
Yeah.
and then you recently sold Norcom and transitioned strictly into
Yeah.
wholesale and non-delegated correspondence. So what do you see as some of the benefits and or
Yeah.
challenges with that transition?
Honestly, as a whole, I think the broker community has there's entrepreneurs, they're self-employed, there's nobody backing them up. They have to have a certain level of commitment in this marketplace. You see it based off of like our numbers and what brokers are doing as a whole. I think when I looked at statistically where the broker business was a few years ago and then the market share that it is today, I think it's only upward and continue to grow. And we worked with some great loan officers, but I think we're even working with some better, more committed, um, you know, amazing mortgage brokers that I'm so impressed with every day. Like what what their understanding of guidelines and I don't know what to attribute it to other than maybe it's the entrepreneurial spirit versus if you're a loan officer working at a retail shop. But there's definitely a difference.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. So with that said, these are professional mortgage brokers, independent mortgage
Yes.
brokers. So what are some of the unique products that we offer at TPO Go that could benefit the brokers and also some of our non-delegated correspondent partners?
Yeah. We do a really well. We do a good job with housing finance agency programs, Massachusetts housing, Florida housing, Connecticut housing. We do a great job with some of our DPA programs. We have a TPO Go 100 that's powered by Chinoa. We also I think we're really good in because of that. I think the additional natural outgrowth of that is the affordable housing programs like the Fannie and Freddie, Fannie Home Ready, Fannie Home Ready, or what I always get those mixed up. But I think that we do a large percentage of that product. We're competitively priced there. And then finally, I'd say I think it's not a product as much as we have really strong underwriters with a deep bench and a deep knowledge. And when somebody says to me like, no offense with some of our competition, but the larger lenders are, like more process driven and not underwriting driven. And because of that, if you have 3 self-employed borrowers that own 5 different properties, it might be difficult to send it to a larger lender that you need to get on the phone and be able to talk to an underwriter that has seen these things before and be able to make them. And then finally, I would say, renovation. We offer every residential renovation product from USDA and VA and, whatever. We offer all of those, and to speak to your VA borrower, VA loan. I often say you should never work with a VA lender as a broker that doesn't have the VA renovation product available. Mainly because as you know, we don't control the appraisal, and if a VA appraiser goes out there and the roof needs to be replaced, and the seller doesn't want to do it, or seller doesn't have the ability to do it, your deal blows up. Whereas you can just switch that to a VA renovation loan at TPO Go. We've seen 1 million deals saved because of that. I was a broker, and I say this passionately: do not sell to a lender that doesn't have a VA renovation backup product for you.
Yeah, and I appreciate what you said about our underwriting team because we have several DEs, we have several LAP approved underwriters. And one of the things I find beneficial for our brokers is, and it's happens often because some of these loans are complex.
Yeah.
Is that we allow our brokers to consult directly with our underwriters, and I've seen countless loans solved, and underwritten, approved, and closed once the underwriter and the broker had a direct conversation and found a way to complete the loan. So it's a really big benefit that I've seen in my time
100%.
here.
Yeah. And we're blessed that we have really good ones. I mean, we're lucky because we have some really great ones. So, and our underwriting manager is phenomenal. I mean, she's like a walking manual, and
Yeah.
So I just hate when I'm wrong and she corrects me. That's the only thing I hate.
Well, that's good.
It happens often.
Hey, one last question. You referenced it earlier. So, what would be the primary objectives for the company, in the next 12 months, and maybe, beyond that?
Yeah. I just think we want to continue to grow. We want to, and I think it's like you get out there, you do the right thing. I just saw a post on a national Facebook page about mortgages, and we were mentioned as being a great place to sell renovation loans too. I think you do the right thing, you provide good customer service. I think growth is going to come regardless. And I think that's really what our goal is. It's like want to dip our toe into additional products. We have in the next few weeks, Trey will probably elaborate, but we have a few limited non-QM loans, to come out there, and that we feel that we really looked at what products would serve our customers the best. We're not a non-QM only lender, but if we can give that same high quality of service to some of the non-QM loans that we do in the regular deals, we're kicking around the idea potentially of adding additional products like reverse mortgages, because we've had a previous experience in that. So, like, growth through good customer service and adding some additional salespeople, and growth because of additional products.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. And I'm excited and look forward to it because I've had experience with non-QM in the past, and it is, it is a portion of the business. It's always active, and it does benefit, mainly investors, non-owner occupied properties, but also for purchases as well.
Yeah.
So thank you, Phil. We appreciate that background.
Yeah.
We're going to roll over to Trey right now. So Trey Van de Bogart is Vice President of TPO Go, and mainly sales, and gosh, just about, he's in every aspect, especially the technology, the platform, very well versed in that. So I'm just going to engage Trey here, just share a little background, how you entered the business, and you know, a little fun fact. I think I know what the fun fact will be, but we'll see if I'm right.
Yeah, I mean, I've been in the business for 5 years. Started just out of college. Actually, in my senior year of college, I sent Phil a cold email looking for an internship, and from there, I started working in marketing. Um, and then probably just about 5 years ago is when Phil said he wanted to tear down the wholesale channel, rebuild it, take a look at the process from start to finish, the portal, um, as far as broker approval, everything. We worked through that, and since that point, it's continued to grow. It's great to see it grow up until, I mean, even last year. It's amazing to see what started as kind of just me, Phil, and a couple of others working through a new portal and a process to last year having two AEs rank in the top 50 national production, probably ranking in the top 15 as a wholesale company nationally. Great to see it grow from what it started as. It was definitely very interesting. And then continue to grow. Like Phil mentioned, we're adding products, always trying to improve the process, and I'm excited to see it continue to grow. But yeah, I mean, as far as a fun fact, your assumption would probably be a big fan of golf. I mean, I love watching golf, playing golf, anything golf.
Yeah, I kind of figured that would be your fun fact. Um, and for those listening, Trey is, you know, he's I'm not gonna say he's a sandbagger, but he's close. He's right there. Hey, so you mentioned top 15. How much did we fund as a company last year
It
in
was
the whole
just
50?
over 1.1 billion in wholesale and non-delegated correspondent.
Okay, and that was we started TPO Go started, you know, as a channel at the end of 21.
Yeah, I believe the launch was 21 September of 2021.
Okay. So that is remarkable. And you know, I think it's Phil had mentioned earlier, it's the whole team, right? It's the AEs experience, you know, two top 50 AEs and just others who have, you know, decades of experience and then really good underwriters. Closing is also fantastic here. Um, so yeah, so thanks for sharing. So, you know, the idea that of this podcast came about because we see a lot of activity in streamlined refinances, both on FHA and VA, and we wanted to focus on VA today. So, for those who are not aware, what does VA IRRRL, the acronym IRRRL, stand for?
So it's an interest rate reduction refinance loan. It's a great product for any veteran borrower that currently has a VA loan.
Okay, and who's eligible for this type of loan?
Yeah, so it's anybody that currently has a VA loan. Their current VA loan must be 210 days or older. And there's a couple of key metrics they have to hit to be able to qualify. But really, it's any borrower with a veteran loan currently looking to refinance to reduce that rate and save on their monthly payment.
Okay, awesome, awesome. Is this program available for both our wholesale and non-delegated correspondent partners?
Yes, yeah, we'll accept it through both channels. And it really just depends on how much control or how little control on that disclosure process that you're looking for. A majority of it we are buying through the wholesale channel currently, but we do have some non-delegated correspondent partners that are submitting IRRRLs and any other product we offer.
Okay, excellent, excellent. So what's the primary structure of the loan? I know you mentioned it a little bit. So it's an existing VA, a veteran, eligible veteran who has an existing VA loan. The existing loan is 210 days seasoned. Um, and then other than that, just what's kind of the structure of the loan? Is there appraisal? Is there income verification? What are the components of the loan?
Yeah, it's a really simple loan. No appraisal requirement, no income verification, and in some cases, no credit verification. So really, it's looking at a payment history to be able to qualify that borrower. Because at the end of the day, we're ultimately just lowering their monthly payment in the same loan type. So there's not really too much more we have to look into there.
Okay, yeah, that's excellent. So, and that's a unique product, right, for us. And not unique. Oh, there's maybe some others that offer it, but so a no credit score loan. So how, what are the two options, credit qualifying, non-credit qualifying? Is if you could share a little bit how that works.
Yeah, and I'll really lean into the no credit score loan because that's something that is, like you mentioned, is unique. It's something that not everybody offers. And it's a great benefit to those borrowers who maybe have a little bit of a worse credit history, but have been making on-time payments of their first mortgage. I mean, as long as we can document a clean mortgage history over the last 12 months, we will accept loans with just a mortgage-only credit report and no scores. And really, like I said, it's the benefit of maybe those borrowers have a little bit of a worse credit score, being able to still qualify for that VA IRRRL and be able to reduce their monthly payment without those crazy pricing hits for lower scores.
Right. And just one other thing. So there's the other qualification that is really important for this type of loan is what's called a recapture, right? Or VA will run a test to make sure that the cost and the change, that they meet certain criteria. If you could just mention that.
Yeah, so there's the VA recoup, which is just a calculation to make sure their monthly savings it does make sense for that veteran to actually refinance their loan. Ultimately, the idea behind recoup is so we're not just turning borrowers over and over and refinance loans. It's ultimately to benefit the veteran is the end goal of the VA IRRRL.
Right, right. Awesome, thank you. So how does a potential partner sign up to become VA approved with us? And how soon can they submit their first VA loans?
Yeah, so I mean, our just borderline broker and correspondent approval package is very quick and streamlined. We don't ask for a ton of documents. We're turning those around in about 48 hours once everything's submitted to us. And then on the VA side, they just submit a one-page document over to us with a couple of pieces of information, and we'll submit that over, take care of everything with VA. We will give access to both correspondent and broker partners as soon as they give that documentation over to us. They just have to be VA approved prior to the closing of that loan. There is a $100 fee, but I would recommend anybody interested in getting VA approved with us to reach out to Don, see if he'll waive that fee for you.
That's right. That's me. And I have in the past. So any questions on that, absolutely you could reach out directly to me. Or if you're watching this and you have another assigned account executive, to your assigned account executive. So, all right. Awesome, Trey. Appreciate that very much. And so now we're going to turn it over to the most important person on the panel. That person is Sales Coordinator Dawn Paulo. Hello, Dawn.
Hey, how are you?
Good, thank you. And the reason Dawn is most important is because she really does manage the entire intake of mortgage of your submission, not just VA IRRRLs, but all mortgages. So just going to have Dawn, share her background, introduce how long she's been in the business, and a fun fact, and then she'll kind of give you a quick walkthrough as to what she does and how she gets the loan from 3.4 upload into loan disclosed and submitted to underwriting.
Sure. So, I've been in the banking / mortgage industry since 2004. I know I don't look old enough for that to be real. I'm just kidding. But anyways, I've been in the mortgage banking industry since 2004. So I've been in this industry a little over 20 years, kind of in different facets. Came from a bank, went to a credit union, and then came over to what was then Norcom, and have been here with this company for almost 9.5 years, which sounds a little crazy, but it's real. Fun fact about me. So I was struggling with this a little bit. I feel like I'm kind of fun, but I couldn't pick one. So what I guess a lot of people probably don't know about me is I was a competitive dancer my whole life and have won national titles.
Wow.
No one knows that. Surprise, right?
Nor did I.
I don't do it anymore,
Congratulations.
though.
Awesome.
I don't do it anymore, except when my old dance studio says, we need an alumni dance. So we need you to come back. And I'm like, oh,
Hey,
okay.
I just had a thought. We could have like the TPO Go Variety Hour. We'll have Phil with his aria and you with your dance, and we'll get one of those indoor golf things that Trey can
Yep.
yeah, awesome.
Perfect.
And I'll I'll just tell bad dad jokes. So it's all good.
Bad dad jokes and apparently give crypto advice.
Yeah. And free crypto for everyone. That's it.
I love it. I'm there.
All right.
As far as my role here at TPO Go, like Don said, I'm the sales coordinator. So my main responsibility every day is to kind of walk brokers through the process of registration, setup, as well as submission for disclosure on our TPO Go portal. Any questions with findings, any questions with, maybe you're having an issue doing something, I'm going to be your go-to up front. Once we get that file submitted for disclosure, our opening team handles all disclosures unless you're disclosing yourself. Once they've disclosed, they will actually review the file just to make sure all necessary documentation is in the file, and basically get it pushed over to underwriting from there.
All right. Fantastic. So in a normal process, whether it's, a conventional loan, a housing loan, CHVA or mass housing or Florida housing, yeah, how does the documentation for the VA IRRRL loan differ from those loans?
So kind of just, mirroring what Trey was just talking about, VA IRRRLs require less documentation. It's a more simple loan. We do have a submission checklist, but like Trey talked about, that no credit score where we do a mortgage only credit report, we may use that instead of doing a full credit report. So again, we do have that submission checklist. If you guys decide that this is a lane you want to go down and you want to partner with us and start submitting VA IRRRLs, we will send you that checklist. We like to make things as seamless and easy as possible.
All right, awesome. And just briefly, how does the underwriting process and turn times differ from, maybe a renovation loan has obviously a lot more detail, or a housing loan has, a lot more detail needed to verify income qualification and such. How do the turn times differ a little bit with VA IRRRLs?
Sure. Well, I'm going to be upfront and honest. I don't have very much to do with underwriting. If I could decision your loan all day, every day, I totally would. However, what's nice about VA IRRRLs is that because it's a more simple program, the process is really kind of, there's not a lot of documentation, right, to review. So your turn times are going to reduce a little bit. Once the file's in underwriting, you're more than likely looking at a 24-hour turn time for a conditional approval. Whereas in a reno file, listen, we do reno really, really well. And I know that this isn't a reno call, but they're a little bit more complicated. So, submit your VA IRRRL, use that submission checklist, and we'll get you an answer ASAP.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And thank you. So, we're going to try to wrap this. We're going to try to keep this within a reasonable time frame. So I just want to thank, Phil, Trey, Dawn. And again, this is little over 2 years for me now. And I have to say that I have not been more excited or energized and just optimistic about where I am and where we are as a company, and the people who are here, is just fantastic. And, Madison's on the call, and Madison, you could share a fun fact if you want to. I'm not going to deny that.
I think she should. Come on, girl.
Not on the spot, Madison. We never do that here.
I got nothing. I got nothing. I like Harry Potter and cats. I have 3 cats.
Right. For you music fans out there, okay, one of Madison's cats' name is Bowie. So
yeah, David
connect
Bowie.
the dots. That's awesome.
Yep.
And actually, my dog is Kobe Bryant, but he's upstairs in the bedroom, and he's not happy with me right now because he got quarantined for this call. But hey, so we hope to have more, bring you more of these podcasts. Just a little bit of, put some personality behind the emails and the challenges. And, I hope we've done that today. We're really, pretty well-knit team. There's still challenges. Guidelines are guidelines. Sometimes the loans just don't work out for different reasons, but We like to think that we're always going to be here and try to, find a way, to get the loan through. And, specific to VA IRRRLs, there's also FHA streamlines that are, a comparable program on the FHA side. These are fantastic loans to go back to your previous borrowers and see if they could benefit from this option. I mean, we do dozens of these loans a month, so they are very active. So with that, I'm going to once again thank Phil, Trey, Dawn, Madison for your time. We're going to thank you, our viewers. If you're an existing partner, thank you for your business. And if you'd like to sign up, just reach out to me, or if you have an assigned account executive, reach out to them and we can get you signed up pretty quickly. And with that, I'm just going to say, TPO Go, it's speed, it's commitment, it's support. Partner with TPO Go. Thanks for joining us today.